It's Saturday with Ted on In-Depth Radio, Newstalk 1010.
.107 Newstalk 1010. Ted Wallison. Glenn Foster's hanging out because he doesn't want to be sitting in North Bay by himself, so he's decided to sit in the studio with us, which is just fine and dandy with me. Joining me now in studio is Angela iYellow, who is the founder of the iYellow Wine Club. Now, if you're going to try to find this on the web, here's what you got to know. The spelling is not what you think. Your name is iYellow. It's an Italian name, right?
Yes, yeah.
A-I-E-L-L-O.
You got it.
But your club is iYellow. The letter I, small I, capital Y, E-L-O, E-L-L-O.
O-W, yeah.
W.
Yellow like the color, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you did this because you thought most Bonza cakes can't spell
Well, yeah,
iYellow.
that's kind of what happened, yeah. People were having trouble saying my name, and that's what...
Danny iYellow is a famous, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. See, I'm glad you guys know.
Related?
There's some people that know. I don't know, maybe far down the line, you know.
Well, there's a great restaurant called iYellow in Mississauga.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
What?
I guess I have to eat there and drink there.
You come on this show, lady. You'll learn a lot.
I'm tuning in.
Yeah. So you started this online. This is a social media phenomenon is what this club is, right?
Yeah, you know, it grew completely on social media, but what I really wanted to do was grow a wine community. Isn't that people who like to celebrate and drink wine, which is why we've got wine in front of us, why we're going to start some drinking today. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's really what happened, and it grew by social media. So lots of stuff online going down, but there's also a lot of offline stuff, a lot of events, a lot of tours. I run a wine school. Blah, blah, blah.
Where did you get your education in wine?
I drank a lot. I'll be honest. I know. No. Okay. Well,
that's good enough for me. Trust me.
I have been in the wine industry for over 13 years now. Mm-hmm. So actually, the Riesling that I brought today is from Vineland Estates Winery, and if you're from Ontario and you like Rieslings, Vineland is the place to go. But I began working in wine when I was 16, and I sort of haven't stopped since.
You're 29.
I'm 29 years old, yeah.
I was
29 in a month. Woo!
In a month. You're a young woman still.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, yeah, seriously. So you started this in... Did you just think that, well, okay, maybe we'll get a couple of hundred people and that'll be cool?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
And you've got how many thousands?
7,000 now.
7,000.
Yeah, just GTA based. So it's we are a bunch of people. Honestly, I started it with 250 of my closest friends when I got out of university and just started throwing parties. And next thing you know, I didn't know who the people were at my parties. And then I was like, I kind of want to do this for a job. How do I do that? And now I'm in my fourth business fiscal right now. So I've made it a full-time job for me. And I do some online stuff. I write for magazines. I write for a bunch of online sources. Sometimes I'm on TV, sometimes I'm on radio, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not such a bad job, but typically I'm drinking wine.
So the people paid to... Yeah.
I'm never getting to North Bay, Ted.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I might be lucky to make my April 15th.
Yeah. That's right. Glenn Foster, that Canadian comedian, will be in Brampton at the Rose Theatre April 15th. But back to our guest. You've got this site. People can join it. There's no charge to join the club.
No, it's a free membership.
So how do you make money?
I work with local partners, like Wines of Argentina, Wines of South Africa, Wines of Australia. And when they want to run an event, I sit down and say, well, this is the type of event I think you should be running. And here's what, we should be doing together. And so I really work hard on putting together events for different companies and then offering those companies, offering my members a reasonable, really great event at a reasonable price.
So anybody in your club can go to many of these events.
That's the idea. Open for members. I say they're open for members and non-members, but members always get sort of first-hand knowledge of what's coming up.
If one of the vineyards in Niagara wants to launch a new wine or a couple of new wines, then they would go possibly to you, and you would say, okay, this is the way I think you should do it. And what we're going to do is we're going to send it out to all my 7,000 members. And we'll see how many of them show up, and we'll get your wine going. What are we drinking here?
This is a Torrontés from Argentina. Have you guys heard of Torrontés at all?
No.
No, but back to your original point. Yes, that's exactly what has happened. I've had local wineries locally come to me and say, I'm launching a new wine. Can you help me out? Of course I can. I love wine. I love to drink. So do all my members. That's fantastic. So, and then I work with Wines of Argentina. For instance, they're a really big partner of mine this year. I've got an event coming up in 2 weeks called Malbec World Day. So around the world, in the UK, in the US, Wines of Argentina has sort of claimed one day as this Malbec World Day. So, on that day, you have to be drinking Malbec to celebrate.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, cheers. We've got some wine in front of us. So this is a Torrontés, which is a white grape varietal from Argentina. And as you know, I'm sure Argentina is a pretty warm climate, right? So when it comes to wine, there are a couple things you need to know. There's cool climates, there's warm climates. Warm climates, places like California, Australia, Argentina, and Chile. And then you get cool climates, places like northern Italy, northern France, Ontario, Oregon, places that... So warm versus cold, people make different things. This is a great varietal that's, like I said, it's called Torrontés. I'm having this thing right now where I'm like, Torrontés and Toronto, because it's so closely...
Yeah.
Well, look, they almost are spelled the same.
I initially thought it was just a clever marketing ploy that it was actually from Toronto.
Yeah, there we go. Well, they're calling Torrontés the wine of the summer. Well, who knows?
That's a nice wine.
Yeah, not bad. Eh? And the nice thing about Argentinian wines right now is that they're really affordable. Right? So you can go into Chile and Argentina right now and find some really great stuff at, under a $12, $15 mark.
It's amazing the success that Ontario wines have achieved over the years. I mean, there was a time when, Ontario wine was best on French fries, basically. Do you remember that? I mean, it was like nobody took Ontario wine seriously at all.
No.
And now they're global award winners.
Yeah, well, we make some, don't mind me saying, but we make some damn good wine here in Ontario for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, our Chardonnays alone are winning awards across the globe. So, and then you look at ice wine, right? Look at the success of ice wine.
Yeah.
That has made us sort of a destination for a lot of different places and a destination for ice wine. And there's a lot of places in the world that make ice wine, but we get so cold here regularly, we can actually do it every year.
Yeah.
So
and people come here from other countries and they love
buy
it
a lot,
and they take it and they take it home with it because you can't get it in a lot of places.
Exactly, I know, and we export a lot of it too. I mean, but you look at Ontario as a wine growing region. Really, we've been making wine since 1979. I think was our very first harvest here in Ontario. Look at places like Italy and France, right? They've been making wine forever, generations, and hundreds of, if not thousands of years.
Sure.
So, of course, there was a time where Ontario didn't make any good wine because we had young vines and we potentially didn't have a lot of talent here that could make a lot of really great wine. But you look at somebody like Donald Zeraldo, who's been pushing ice wine since the 70s, since the late 70s, and I had a chance to go to Italy with him, and it was an amazing experience because he's kind of the godfather of Ontario ice wine, right?
There's a winery that I visited. It's not right in Niagara; it's just before Niagara, but they're now manufacturing. They're now selling an Amarone.
Yes, the Appassimento style of wine.
And that's not very common at all. In fact, I don't think anybody else has done that in Ontario. I think that they're the first people who have done that.
Yeah, there are a couple places doing it, but Andre Lipinski, who's sort of the winemaker behind a lot of that Appassimento style, actually began at Vineland, which is the next wine we're going to be trying here. But Appassimento style, when I was in Italy, I learned a lot about, and it's the drying of the grapes, right? So at the end of the day, you crush your grapes, or you bring in your grapes from the vineyard, you crush the juice out, the skins go over here, the juice goes over here, the juice is always white, and what brings wine its color is that contact with the skins. But in the Appassimento style, what happens is they take those grapes off the vines and they let them sit before they crush them, they let them sit in sort of plastic cages or what, just whatever, shelvings. And they sit there, and what happens is that water from the grape ends up getting dehydrated, and it adds value or complexity and a lot of sort of really fun stuff into the wine, and that's called the Appassimento, which is the Amarone style of wine.
Excellent. All right, we're going to come back in just a moment with Angela iYellow, the iYellow Wine Club. If you are interested, you want to go online, it's small letter I, capital Y, ELLOW. That's where you'll find it. .com?
You got it, yeah.
.com. Back with it in a moment.
Saturday with Ted continues on Newstalk 1010.
Welcome back at 1:20 now. It's Ted Welshin. Angela iYellow is with me from the iYellow Wine Club. That's small I, capital Y, small ELLOW, wineclub.com. 7,000 members, did you say?
Got it. Yeah.
7,000 members.
There's a bunch of us that like to drink.
Wow. It'd be cool if you could get everybody together for one event. But you'd need like a hockey arena.
Yeah, that would be really amazing, right? I've got a couple events coming up where there's 200 and 500 person events, so I'm hoping I can gather out quite a few of those 7,000 to celebrate with me. Yeah.
Now, you just said you poured me a glass of... Bill, did you want some wine?
After the next guest.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
got Roberto here, and I gotta
Okay. Yeah.
still
Yeah.
see the keys.
No, that's true. See, it doesn't matter to me. I'm hammered right now, so at this point, who cares?
It looks
No,
really
we're
good.
just having little sips. But this is a glass of red wine that you poured me, but it's white
Yes.
in color.
Okay, so this is one of my favorite wines coming up right now, and I hope Ed Madronich is listening to this because he'll owe me a case of wine for this. I'm just joking. It's called The Rogue, and it's by Flat Rock Cellars, and it's a Pinot Noir, but it's white. He doesn't like for it to be called a white Pinot Noir, but I'm a huge Pinot Noir fan, and we talked about Ontario earlier. We were talking about Ontario wines, and Flat Rock is making some outstanding, stellar wines. So obviously what makes a wine a red wine is that contact with the skins. This is a red grape that has had no contact with the skins in the juice, so it's actually white. So if you smell it, it does have some barrel fermentation to it, so you'll get a little bit of oak there to it, but it's actually white, made from a red grape. And
So
people don't think you can do that, but you can.
So you would consume this with what kind of food would this go with?
Well, I consume this a lot on its own, I'll be honest.
I know, but there are people out there who eat, Angela. You know?
And with good friends, which is also a good pairing. But then I would pair this, classically when you're pairing wine and food, you want to pair the weight of the wine with the weight of the food, right? So this is kind of a medium to full, well, I would say more medium-bodied white wine, but it can pair with a lot of things that red wines would considerably pay for or pair with in that format. So it's a Pinot Noir. What would you pair a Pinot Noir with? You can pair it with some fish.
You know
could
what?
pair it with-
I'm one of these guys that I like Amarone.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't care. I can have that with steak. I can have that
Exactly.
with pasta. I can have that with pizza.
Totally. Drink what you like, eat what you like. It all kinds of works out, right? Like there's rules, but the rules are meant to be broken. As far as I'm concerned, I'm an anti-wine rule type of girl. So
Well, you're not a wine snob, which I like.
no, God, no. No, somebody called me the other day the Robin Hood of wine. I steal from the rich and give to the people, I don't know how that works, but
I don't know.
yeah.
It sounds good though. Yeah. And you're constantly learning about this industry.
Yes, constantly learning. That's the glory of wine, is that you are constantly learning, from vintage to varietals to people to traveling. The nice thing is wine can take you anywhere, and you don't even have to visit it. You can just walk into the LCBO and grab a couple bottles from 3 or 4 different countries, and next thing you know, it's like you're on a little traveling episode right here with your friends, right?
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that see, for me, I don't like a really dry wine. Like I find that if I get a really dry wine, it gives me heartburn. So I like something with a little bit more body to it, a little more fruity, which I think is why, because an Amarone is like a 1 on the scale of sweetness, and
Right.
like a lot of the zeros, they're a little just too dry for me.
Yeah. Well, and dry wines, they're a result of tannin. So how much time that wine is actually spent in contact with the skins.
Right.
So Amarone does tend to have that sort of that full fruit forwardness, which is really nice thing when it comes to wine. Wouldn't say a lot of people actually prefer dry wines. Those are good wines to pair with food when we're talking about wine and food, right? And here's a Malbec. I just poured you a Malbec, a red one
Now,
from Argentina.
explain what a Malbec is, because
It's a grape varietal. So, typically...
Is it like a Merlot, for example?
Oh, like in comparison to another varietal?
Yeah.
I would probably throw it into it's probably a blend of Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. I would say it's a blend of both of those. It's got some really nice fruitiness flavors of what a Merlot would bring, but it's also got some good body to it, like a Cabernet Sauvignon, which gives it that backbone.
Why don't we just try it?
Yeah, we should just be drinking that right now. So Malbec's from Argentina, and like I was saying with the Torontes earlier, the nice thing about Argentina is you can get some really great wines for a decent price. I think both the wines I have here in studio today are under $10.
That's a nice taste.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
And so Malbec's a type of grape, but it's also indigenous to Argentina. So not a lot of places in the world grow it. It is classically one of the mixes in a Bordeaux blend. So when people buy Bordeaux's, Malbec tends to be in there, but there's not too much of it actually still growing in France. So you'll find it has moved over to Argentina, and Argentina is kind of claiming it as their signature grape. So if you're going for some Malbec, you can get some from Chile and you can get some from Argentina as well.
Now, for people who know very little about wine or are just beginning to experience and understand wine, Take me through the process of getting to do that. Like because it can be a little confusing as you walk into the liquor store. There's so many different kinds of wines, and not even I'm not even talking about brands, but the Cabernets, the Pinots, the Merlots, the Amarones. It's like, well, what? I don't even know what I want.
Yeah.
So what's the best way to learn?
To start to learn?
Yeah.
Well, I think tasting is always a good place to start, but it's also that hunger to learn more about what you like, because wine is such a subjective thing. I mean, I can sit here and tell you here are 4 wines that I like. Does that mean you're going to like them? No. So wine is a very individual thing, and figuring out, if you like a Riesling, which I love Rieslings. I know I love Riesling, so I will walk in and go to the places I know that make Riesling the best, and we'll find something. But
no, that's a sweet one.
It's kind of on a dry to sweet scale, but it's definitely more sweet than, say, something like a Sauvignon Blanc. Yeah, absolutely. And I enjoy the balance of it, because Riesling has some acidity to it and some sweetness. I mean, in any wine that you want to find that balance of sweetness and acidity, if that's what you like, right? And really, that's my motto when it comes down to wine. Just find the stuff you like.
So you get a lot of people firing questions at you and giving you suggestions and saying, "Listen, I just found this new wine. Just tried this," and people say, "Listen, do they email you and say, I'm having a big dinner party and I want to get some kind of wine. I don't want to pay a lot, but I want something that people will say, wow, this is a really good taste."
Yes. You want to impress people, right? Like any dinner party, you want, or if you're bringing something, you want to impress somebody. I mean, my go-to, like I said earlier, is always a Riesling. Pairs well with food, good on its own. It's great. In the summertime, you get a nice Sauvignon Blanc. You get a really solid Pinot Grigio from northern Italy. You can find some really good stuff to showcase, on the patio with the barbecue. Baco Noirs from Ontario are wonderful as well. You're also looking at some cool blends here in Ontario. So in the wine world, you can find varietal-specific wines. That means the varietal of that grape is on the label. For instance, Charentes, Riesling, Malbec, Pinot Noir. Or you can actually find a region. So you go to places like France or Italy, and you'll find like Chablis or Bordeaux or, those are actually regions, but you don't know what's in the bottle. You just know that that's a region in that area. So that's my first thing to people who are kind of lost in the wine world, is figuring out, okay, there's varietals and then there's places, and then understanding how to read a label. I think that's a very important part of that beginning. If you're a wine newbie, you like to drink, but you don't really know what's next. But I do equate buying wine to kind of walking into a library and knowing you want to read, but not knowing what to buy. Right. Same kind of thing.
And one of the things that I prefer red wine over white wine, as I mentioned, but I like to chill my red wine.
Yeah, of course. No, that's good. It's red wine, when you chill it, actually takes away that alcohol content. So you don't taste the alcohol, you taste the fruit, which is, earlier you were saying you really enjoy the fruit. What brings out that fruit is that, and that's chilling your wine.
Is that right?
Yeah. So it dumbs the alcohol, it brings up the fruit.
And is that the same with white wine?
Well, white wine typically should be chilled, just because it is a white wine. But the thing when you heat wine up, so when you heat white wine up, you'll actually get more alcohol. So it's technically the same thing, and white wines just taste way better when they're chilled. Yeah. Way better. And I chill almost all my red wines too, and they last longer in the fridge. So if you don't finish a bottle in an evening, you can actually throw it in there. I've had a bottle of this in the fridge for almost 7 days, and it's lasted with a screw top.
And people talk, and they're actually better, the screw tops, than
I don't know.
corks.
I prefer them. They're less work to open. And I find you can actually twist it back on so it's nice and tight, airtight sealed, and throw it right in the fridge. Yeah. Not even in a stand-up position. You just throw it down on.
And it doesn't break, and you're chewing cork.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So. Well, and this is all great stuff. I'm fascinated by not only how you got to this point with the 7,000 guests, but your real passion for wine.
Yes, I have a real passion for wine.
And it's a real nice, relaxed passion, as I say. I don't feel like an idiot because I'm asking these questions whereby some wine snobs will. They just like, no, this guy's such a fool. He shouldn't have been drinking wine, Give him draft beer.
It's all about making it approachable. I mean, there's a ton of, like you said, there's a ton of wine in the LCBO, right? Yeah. You got to learn about what you like. And I think that's the coolest thing. It's all about confidence about wine. And that's, whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's somebody else, it's giving people that confidence to do that. That's what my stylist says about me, because I could wear a hoodie and a t-shirt every day. And she's like, you need to be confident about your style. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So, it's kind of the same thing.
Okay. This has been a lot of fun having you on. I thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and let us know if there's anything special going on that we can let the good folks know, because we found that 8 out of 10 people listen to the show drink heavily. I don't know, it's just a stat somebody threw at me.
That's good.
Angela iYellow. It's the iYellow Wine Club. It's I, capital Y, small L, small E, LLOW, wineclub.com. wine.com and join and learn all about wine and get questions. Angela would be more than happy to answer them for you.
Thanks.
You take care. Coming up, we'll take a look at the traffic situation around the big city, and then the Grammy Award-winning Roberta Gambarini. It's the all-Italian guest day right here at Newstalk 1010.